Okay, so I promised you guys a video, and here it is. Okay, so this is the verb. We're gonna conjugate this verb. Of course, I left all the sheets that I'd given you at school. So I just wrote a sheet up, and we're doing the verb nego, negare, negawi, negatus. Hopefully you can read that. This is just a first conjugation verb. We can tell that it's a first conjugation verb, of course, because of the long ARE. Hopefully by now you figured out that the first step that you have to do is make sure you have your stem, okay? And the stem that you need for these top 6 boxes is going to be the present stem, okay? And you find the present stem by taking off the RE, okay? So this gives us the present stem. Okay, so the present stem is there. I wonder if I can make this a little easier to read. Okay, well, hopefully that's legible enough. Okay, so you got the present stem. And because this, oh, I didn't give us a person and number. We're just going to do this in second person. We're going to do this second person plural, feminine. Okay, so that's what we're doing. Now, hopefully by now you figured out too that the present stem means that for a first conjugation verb, you can write down the stem in each one of the boxes. Okay. So you can write that down out of the gate, before you do anything else. You also need to have all of your endings. And let me go through this. Here, I'm just going to get another sheet of paper. Okay, so remember that your basic personal endings, right? The basic personal endings for verbs that you've known since Latin 1 are O or M, S, T, MUS, TIS, and T. Okay, those are your basic personal endings. You're also going to need the passive endings, right? Passive endings. Now, there's no quick fix through this. You just have to know these endings. Now, you've seen them enough. And when I start saying ris, ter, you guys all chime in, mini, inter. So I know you know it. You just have to connect the dots, okay? We have singular, plural, singular, plural. This is active, this is passive, okay? You need to know this. The other set of endings that you need to know, okay, are the perfect endings. The perfect verb endings are only ever used in the perfect active. Isti, it, imus, istis, erunt. Okay? So those are the endings that you have to know. And as I pointed out, I think today on the board, you also need to know the conjugation of the verb to be. Sum, est, sumus, estis, sunt. Ero, eris, erit, erimus, eritus, that's an I. Erunt, okay, that's a U, sorry, UNT, that's an N. And you need eram, eras, erat, eramus, eratus, erot. Okay, so you need basically to sort of have all these things down. And, on tests or things, you might even want to write it down, kind of like the noun chart, just jot these down really quickly. It looks like a lot, but these are endings and verbs that you've been studying for 2 years now. Okay, this we did in Latin 1. The only new thing that you had last year were the passives eris, ter, mini, and ter. Okay, but the rest of this you've been studying for, actually over 2 years. This needs to be sort of locked in. This is all review. Remember, none of this is new. It's all review. So once we have these endings down, you can look. Okay, what did Miss Campbell? I said second person plural. So second person plural was going to be on this side, the plural side, and be first. So you're going to need tis, you're going to need mini, you're going to need istis, estis, eritus, and eratus. Okay, so right away, we know when we see second person plural, boom, these are the endings that I need. All right, let's go back to the verb. Now, the most important ending that you're going to use is tis, honestly. Tis and mini are kind of like the two big headers. So if I want to make this into the second person plural here, I'm just going to add the ending TIS. And this is y'all denied. Whoops. Okay, just ignore that. It's denied. Oh my gosh. Just ignore that. Okay. To make it passive, instead of a tis, I'm going to add a mini. Okay. And this would be nega mini. Okay. And that's just y'all are being denied. Okay. So y'all are being denied. All right. So that's basically you take your stem, you add your ending, Bob's your uncle, you're all done. Now, what if I want to say this is imperfect? Well, to do the imperfect, which is an incomplete action in the past, we have to add a tense indicator. The tense indicator for the imperfect is ba. And you can add ba to both sides. Okay? Once you have the tense indicator on, you add your ending again. And you have tis and tis. Okay? Negabatis. Oh, whoops. Negabamini. Oh my goodness. Sorry, guys. I was testing you, and I bet at home you guys were like, Miss Campbell, that's not right. You're right, I was wrong. Okay. This is what happens when you make videos after 6 o'clock on a weeknight. Okay. When you get old, 6 o'clock is late. Trust me. So this is y'all were denying. Sorry, my dog is talking to someone outside. This is y'all were being denied. Okay. So you all were denying, you all were being denied. So negabemini and negabatis. Right. I'm really sorry just ignore that. All right, for the future, again, first conjugation, it's a bo be boo. So this isn't like one of the a sets. This is a bo be boo one. So all we add here is a bi and a bi. And then we add the tis. And we add the mini. Look, I did it right this time. Okay. And this will be you all will deny. You all will be denied. Oh my gosh, denied. Denied. Okay. You all will be denied. So that's the present system. Okay. The present system, remember, includes things with the present stem. So all of these are the present stem. You have the NEGA from the second principal part, and you add your endings and your tense indicator in your ending. All right. Now, for the next section, we go to the perfect. Okay, so for the next section, we have the pink. Okay. And we need the perfect stem. And the perfect stem is going to come from the third principal part. Okay, so you go third times the charm or third times perfect. And we're going to add that stem right here. Okay. Okay. So you write down the stem, and really it's just the third principal part minus the I. Whatever's left, just add the stem. Don't even overthink it. Just add the stem. Now, this is when the perfect system comes in, istis. Okay. This is where this ending shows up. And the only time you're going to use it is here. You're going to add an istis here. And this is y'all denied. Okay, y'all denied. For the pluperfect and the future perfect, you're basically using the eratus and the eritis. But if that's hard to remember, you can just say the tense marker is an ERA or an ERI, and then you add the TIS. And you see that gives you the exact same thing. It gives you the eratus and the eritis. So if you can't, if it's really hard, sometimes it's easier to break it up into smaller bites and say, all right, stem, tense indicator, ending. Okay. You can also just say stem, imperfect of soon, whichever works for you. And this is y'all had denied. And this is y'all will have denied. Okay. So that takes us through the perfect active anyway. Let's look at the perfect passive. Okay. So the perfect passive is here. Okay. It's going to be the third sort of grouping here. You're going to go to the fourth principal part, negatus. Okay. Like negate, negatus. Now hold on. I'm holding off on the US because I did ask for this to be plural and feminine. And the plural feminine ending is AE. Okay. So negatai, negatai, negatai. This again is going to take us back into the sum territory. And this is where the estis, eratus, and eritus come in. Okay. So this would be estis, eratus, eritus. Okay. This would also be, by the way, if you see the eratus here is the eratus here, and the eritus here is the eritus here. So that does help because you kind of double dip on that particular ending. And this will be you all have been denied. You all had been denied, and you all will have been denied. I'm running out of room. I got to make a bigger sheet. Okay. All right. So look, this is me doing this part here. It's just, less than a few minutes, hopefully. It helps. Okay. You follow the same steps basically for every verb. The only things that get a little dicey are the third and fourth, especially in the future. But honestly, once you get to the perfect, the steps are the same, guys. Everything is the same. These forms don't change. You just plunk them in and add your endings. All right. I'm going to post this. You guys feel free to ask me questions. Okay. Stop recording.